screen. All right, so today we're going to talk about the how to advance your career with the RISE method. As Luigi mentioned, this comes from the book RISE. So before that, let me tell you a couple of things about myself. I'm a senior software engineer with more than 10 years of experience. I started my career in Italy, working 3 years for a consultant company, and then I moved to London, where I currently work for investment banks in the financial industry. When I started my career, I really just did what I was told to do. But then once I moved to London, I discovered this book, and I managed to go through my career very quickly. So I'm going to share everything. So before we start, I want to ask you a question. Just think about yourself. Do you know the number one reason why people leave a company? Or, well, let's say number 3 reasons. Which one would you think they are? So let me tell you this. Number 1 is the lack of career development and advancement. This comes from a survey conducted by McKinsey & Company a couple of years back. And this is really interesting because on top of the 3, yes, we always have the monetary compensation, one of the main reasons. But the third one is about uncaring and expiring leaders. This plays a key role whether in the employee's career, whether they stay or they leave. So let me tell you this. So imagine this situation. So you're working a team, your manager comes and saying, there is a new project. Someone has to work on it. I need a volunteer. So this project is going to be a bit more intense than the others. You will need to work every Saturday for the next 2 months. You know that is crazy, is a lot of work, but you think it's good for your career. So you decide to volunteer. 2 months later, the project is completed, great success. You expect some kind of recognition, but no, nothing happened. You don't receive any email, any thank you email from the stakeholders. Your manager doesn't tell you anything. You don't get any time off for that or any compensation. So how would you feel about that? If it happened to you, how would you feel? Well, let me put it like this. This happened to me, and you can guess how I felt in that moment. And that was actually one of the reasons why I also left that company. So communication and inspiring others are essential skills to become a great leader, a great manager. And these are some of the topics we will cover in this webinar. And we'll do it thanks to this book, RISE, by Patty Azzarello. So Patty Azzarello, she is the youngest general manager at HP at 33. Actually, she was. A couple of years back, she ran a 1 billion software. And 3 years later, she became CEO of her own company. And she had an amazing career. And in this book, she describes exactly what happened to most of us. She struggled a lot when she was younger. She delivered a lot of good projects without being recognized. And luckily for her, she got very good mentors and her career changed. So she wrote this book, and I'm trying to pass whatever I understood to you. This really helped me. So hopefully it will help you as well. So how do we run this webinar? So first, we will talk about how can we do better? How do we improve what we already do to work more strategical? How do we look better? How do we increase our visibility and be recognized for our efforts? And then we'll talk about how do we connect better? How do we expand our network and keep the connections alive? And then we'll leave a bit of time for Q&A. So as Luigi mentioned, if you have any question, please just write down in the chat and we can go through them later on. So let's jump into it. So how do we do better? What does it mean doing better? So this doesn't mean working harder. Really, nobody cares if you work 1 hour or 4 hours. If you take an hour or 4 hours to do a task, someone could argue, yes, but if you work hard, if you stay an extra hour after work, if you look busy, you get recognized. This may be true when you're young, when people tell you what to do and you just do them. But as a manager, your outcome counts much more than your output. So to give you an example on this, imagine that you work for a company that sells books online and you're a manager there. There are a couple of things, couple of problems. One of them is that the company sales don't go up during Christmas holidays and nobody understands why. And then there are also many small BU tasks that they have to be completed before the end of the year. So imagine, yes, you're a project manager there and you need to choose what to work on. So let me tell you this, despite the second one may look you busier, so you are completing more stuff, so it looks like you are producing more, coming up with an idea, even like, I don't know, during lunchtime that solves the first problem, will give you much more credit because that brings much more value to the company. So unfortunately, we are not always so lucky to choose what to work on. Many times we look left and we see more work coming, piling up, or manager telling us what to do, always more stuff. And then we look right and we see our team exhausted, really lying dead on the floor. And you are their leader, you try to support them, you're in the middle. But every time you try to push back something, someone comes to you hungry, saying that their work has to be completed ASAP. Okay, this happens to all of us. But unfortunately, remember that we can't work on everything. Like many times there is no time to work on everything. So you can try to do that, but you may do the opposite, and you may do nothing. So how do we handle this situation? Well, the most important part is about addressing all the work we are asked to do. Really, this is about replying to every mail. It's important that people know that they've been acknowledged and that you are considering, you are reviewing their work. And the second part is about asking questions. So what is the requirement? Like, who wants it? Does it exist? Actually, I was told a story yesterday. So before doing this presentation, one of my coworkers, he was in a situation where he completed a project, and after that he got fired. And when he asked, okay, but why I got fired, his manager told him because you completed the project, but the senior manager wanted that project to be cancelled. So he couldn't really understand that. And the point was that if he asked the right question, he understood that that project was not supposed to be completed, and it was just wasting time, basically. And the third point is about don't just work on what you're asked to do, but try to reshape it the way it works the best for you. So to give you another example on this, imagine you are still working for the same company. Okay, you're a manager there, this company sells book, and now you're asked to create a new page on the website where you can buy everything, not just books. Also, the graphic teams comes to you with a new layout. You realize it's very different from the rest of on the website. It's a lot of work. So what would you do as a manager? Imagine again, you're in this situation. Would you jump into the implementation? Would you start creating Jiras for your team, tasks, stories? Well, following what Patty suggests, we need to start asking questions again. So you go to the stakeholder and you're like, okay, why do we need a new page? It won't be confusing for users having two different pages for basically just buying stuff online. And then you go to the graphics team. Okay, why is this page different from the others? Won't be, again, confusing for the user seeing different layouts. And then you go to your team and you ask, okay, how do you feel about this work? Do you think we have any existing components that we can reuse? And maybe the stakeholders will come back saying, actually, you're right, maybe it's better to use the same page. Or the graphic team will come back and saying, yeah, you're right, maybe let's just reuse the one we have. Or maybe even your team saying, actually, this is already implemented, there is nothing to do. So you get credit for absolutely doing nothing. So that's why it's really important to ask questions. So to go back on prioritization, how do we prioritize? Well, Patty Azzarello has an answer for this as well. And she says, first of all, make a list. Really make a list of everything your managers or other people ask you to do. And then make another list. And this second list has to contain all the prioritized items. And then every time you have a one-on-one with your manager, you want to show them the list, because this will give you credit. It shows that you actually keep track of everything you're asked to do. And it helps you to negotiate what to work on, because it shows how much stuff you have already prioritized. So in case they ask you, oh, you have to do this one as well, you're like, okay, I already have all this. There won't be time, so it will be much easier. But that's the problem. Many times when we have to prioritize stuff, we need to push back other things. Okay, what is less important? So we write this prioritization list, the most important things at the top, and the less important things on the bottom. And we try to go through all the elements of the list, but many times we can't. And that's why the manager jobs comes with a risk, because again, when there is too much work, you have to push back what is less important. But here, basically, you are taking a bet. You're saying, okay, I bet that at the end of the year, when you sum up the outcome of what you achieved, the benefit, the value that you bring is more than what you didn't achieve. So that senior manager will say, okay, Christian didn't complete this, but also look how much value he brought. So that's how you win the bet. And in order to win it, you need your manager to be onboarded. So this means that at any point in time, it must be very clear what your priorities are and what your team is working on. And it's normal that maybe your manager doesn't agree with you on your priorities, but this is where you have to show, first of all the evidences, all the email or any evidence that you have. And second, in case you have any input, just take it in consideration, review your priorities, but it's important that you always remind everyone what you're working on. And that's why communication is a vital skill. Communication towards people. So again, constantly remind people, like when you're in a Zoom call, in a meeting, email, everything, remember them what your priorities are, even if it's just, I don't know, 2 things that you are working on during this year, just remind them. But even more important is the communication with your team, because your team must be well aware about the priorities. There should be no picking up of new work on the spot. This happened to me many times. My manager went on vacation, a couple of weeks, people coming to me and saying, oh, I'm using your product. Can you just make this a small change? It takes a couple of days, or can you help us testing just this week? And then imagine your manager coming back and they ask you, okay, what have you done? Oh, I didn't work on that. I just helped other people. So 2 weeks that they were supposed to work on what was prioritized and they didn't do. And then what happened when you complete the project? It's really important to recognize your team. You need to really give credit to the right people. This is not just good for them, but also for you, because again, keep mentioning like the way that's the way you like to lead, about recognizing people, prioritizing stuff. So people will question you less next time because they see that you complete what you prioritize. So they will trust you more. Couple of suggestions about how to recognize people. That's I had this experience when I moved to London. It was really nice. So we had monthly or quarterly meetings with senior managers where we talk about achievements. So I don't know, let's say every month you're like, okay, this month Christian completed this. So as an employee, you feel much better. You feel like recognized. So you feel that you actually get credit, that you get visibility. But also this is a great way to retain talents, because imagine, I don't know, at the end of the year, if someone doesn't get the promotion, instead of thinking, okay, this company doesn't care about me, I'm just going to change and try somewhere else, they will think, you know what, but they recognize me, I have a great manager, okay, I didn't get the promotion, but you know what, let me try one more year. So keep in mind, this is a good way to recognize people. But that's why trust is a key element between a manager and his team. It's very hard to earn, especially because people had bad experience in the past. As I mentioned before, I worked 2 months for every Saturday, and then I didn't get recognized. So it's difficult to trust again. Imagine as a manager, if you have your team that doesn't get one thing right, and every time you have to step in and do their job, or as an employee, seeing your manager telling you that this year you will get the promotion and you never get it. So it's difficult to trust. But when there is trust, everything works much better, because as a manager, you feel much more comfortable in delegating. You know that your team will get things done, so you can trust them. You won't need to micromanaging all the time, and this is the worst part as a manager, doing there, stepping in every time. And as a team, you know that the same thing, you don't have to check with your manager every time on every single thing. You know that your manager will fight for you. You know that he will recognize you. So everything works better. Now, really think about your job more as a way to figuring out a better way to deal with all this stuff than is to do all this stuff, and you will be on the right track. So now, next exercise, think about this. Imagine you're magically given 1 extra hour in your work week. So let's say you work like 9 to 5, and in this interval, you have magically 1 more hour. Think about yourself. What would you do? How would you spend this time? Would you take a break? Would you take a nap? Would you, I don't know, do something, I don't know, a hobby that you have, or like will you keep, I don't know, working on something that you know that you never have time? So let me tell you this, most likely you will keep doing what you currently do. And this is just because there are always more meetings, there are always more email to send, more work to do. So the key point here is that we need to learn how to get extra time and use this to think what we can do better, like what the organization needs. This is the key word, what the organization needs. So how do we, a few ideas how to get more time? First of all, shorter meetings. So if you set up shorter meetings and try not to overrun them, if someone try to overrun, just say I have other meetings, and you cut it. Book time for yourself. I used to do this a lot. Just book a meeting for yourself. Be unavailable. No worries. The company won't go bankrupt because you're away half an hour. Write effective emails. Really write short emails. Go straight to the point. Again, the shorter, the better. My manager, he used to say to me, my first manager, if you send me an email longer than 3 lines, it goes straight to my bin folder. He used to tell me that he had a rule that the email went straight to the bin folder. It wasn't true, but it was just to give me an idea. Because think about it. How do you feel when you read a long email compared to when you write a long email? When I read this, I thought about that myself. When you read a long email, after 3 lines, you're like, okay, it's too long. I'm tired. Hopefully, someone else will read it, understand for the whole team. But when you write a long email, you're like, okay, no, I need to put all the details. It's important that everyone has a clear picture. So you feel like that you add more details, even if maybe they are not necessary. I mean, sometimes they are, but many times they're not. So we need to learn how to write shorter email. So to summarize on this, how do we do better? First of all, we need to understand what happens in your business. If you can get closer to the customers, and then there's the key takeaway of this is that we need to start solving problems at organization level. This means less hands-on, learn to delegate, and focus on bigger problems. It's really more about thinking and less about doing. Like really think about organization level. So unfortunately, many times getting better at what you do is not enough. Patty mentioned in her book saying, I delivered a massive project, the company made so much money, nobody knew that I was the one who did it. So how can we ensure that people notice and values your effort? This is how to do it. We need to look better. So now we know how to do better, working at organization level. Now we need to look better. So let me give you another example. You're given the choice between 2 projects on what to work on next. So the project 1 is chill, but with no business impact. The project number 2 is a bit more difficult, but it's closer to the customer. Now, which one would you choose? So here there is not right or wrong answer, because it's really about personal choice. Maybe you have things going on in your life, you want something more chill. But unfortunately, there is no question on which one will give you more visibility to get more exposure, and it's the second one. So whenever we have a choice about what to work on next, we need to think which one will give me more credit, more visibility, and that's the one we should choose. So how do we look better? First of all, we need to build credibility. That's really important, because high credibility means that people will respect you more and question you less. You will get more support. There will be people back you up when someone questions you, and people will ask you for your opinion before making final decision, because they will respect you. Okay, so how do we build credibility? First of all, again, think that it's always about the business and never about the work you are doing. And in order to get more credibility, you need to adjust the language according to who you are speaking to. So let's say another example. You're still working on this online company that now doesn't sell only books, but sells everything. And you come up with a new initiative about delivering parcels in 1 day. Great innovation. So how do you communicate it to the rest of the organization? Well, the language really changed. If you speak to your team, the conversation is technical. So you go there and say, okay, I got an initiative about delivering parcels in one day. This means that we need to buy trucks and connect them together. We need to develop an algorithm to deliver the parcels in the shortest time. But then when you speak to the business, the conversation is more business focused. It's going to be more like I got an initiative to deliver parcels in one day. This is going to increase the sales. People will buy more often. It's going to cost a bit initially, but it will attract many more clients. So they don't care about the algorithm or anything. They just want to know, is the company making money or is the company saving money? Perfect. This is what they need. So it's very different. Another way to look better is being proactive. And this thing, I've seen it many times. People get a lot of credit just for being proactive. This means coming up, for example, with initiatives that help the business, not just the work that you're doing. So the company, again, really appreciate who goes beyond the simple doing their job and coming up with ideas, especially about saving money or making money. When I started my career, I was just there. They told me what to do, and I did it. But now I always try to think, okay, what the organization need. Every time I have my one-to-one with my manager, I think, okay, I tell him, okay, I want to work at organization level, and I try to pick up these tasks. So when I started, actually, I thought, okay, but actually, no, when I read this book, I thought, but I'm just a software engineer. I mean, what kind of contribution I can do? I'm nobody here. But then I learned that actually everyone can contribute. You just need to learn more about the business and find out how can you make it better. So another example, you are still manager there, 10 years that you are working for this company. Let's give it a name. Let's call it Rainforest. I don't know, you're working for Rainforest. And now you just watch this presentation and you start thinking, okay, how can I improve? How can I make a change at organization level? So you're working there, you know that Christmas sales goes up in December, so you have a big infrastructure behind to support the load. But then you have months like February where you paid a lot for infrastructure and you never really use it. And you think it wouldn't be great if we just sublet this infrastructure to other companies and get paid for that. And so you share your initiative. You are, again, a software engineer there. You share your initiative with your manager and his manager, everything by email, so it gets tracked. They know it's you. And imagine this, 5 years later, a new company is born, like Rainforest Web Services, subletting infrastructure to companies. So everyone can come with an idea. You just need to understand how the company works and how you can improve it. So there are other ways to be proactive. It doesn't have to be only about initiatives. One way is about increasing productivity. So ask yourself, where do we waste time? How can we be faster? So one way is to do shorter stand-ups meetings or like onboarding task list. Imagine like you have a new joiner in the team. Instead of wasting 1-2 months to learn setting up everything, you can provide a task list so it's clear what they have to do. Another way is about improve the organization of the document, the Confluence page if you use it. So it's much easier to check whenever you need something. Another way is about developing talents. This is really appreciated. If you take time to train your team, they will be faster in releasing stuff. Everyone will have knowledge. So if there is a problem, someone is away, other people know how to do it. So a lot of KT sessions. Or about innovation. So think about what can be done better, how to improve what is already there. So no new stuff, just to improve what is there. This is just a few ideas to be proactive, and this will make you look better. Another way, so we talked about credibility, we talked about being proactive. Now, personal branding. So think about this. You have an impression of your coworkers, so this means that they have an impression of you. Is it positive? Is it negative? You don't know. You can ask, but they may not tell you the truth. So think when people talk about you, what would you like them to say? So how can you make a better impression? So two key points, behavior and consistency. So the way you act is your personal brand, is what people talk about you. Consistency is about the way we act, like how consistent we act. So let's say you do something, you are happy with that, people talk well about you, you need to keep doing that. If you change it, this may impact your personal brand. Imagine you always recognize your team. People are happy. Everyone talk well about you because you recognize them. If one day they work on a big project and you don't recognize them, well, this may impact your personal brand. So it's important to be consistent. Another great way is actually ask for feedbacks to friends and family potentially, because you know that they will tell you the truth, right? I mean, most likely they will tell you the truth. So maybe you may find out that people appreciate that you always send very short email, and this is something that is like a good behavior to have. But maybe you may find out that you have the bad behavior of talking over other people during a meeting, and we don't want to be associated with that. So collecting feedbacks will help us to develop our personal brand. Another way to look better, this is just to mention it, is about our aesthetic. Unfortunately, this one also plays a key role, and you may be okay or not, but I'll just mention it. Like ideally, keep your clothes updated, review your style, cut your hair, maybe not once a year. Keep the makeup updated as well. Don't wear a strong perfume, because unfortunately, many times these things we don't give them too much credit. But if they are not, they don't have to be perfect, but they may backfire us. Imagine someone comes to you talking about a very innovative idea, but maybe a very strong perfume, and you cannot even stand around. So just like small fix that can really boost up our personal brand. So there is one more element, but before we talk about that, how to look better, let me ask you this. Do you know how the promotion works? Like when you're in a company, do you know how you get promoted, how the whole process works? Well, let me tell you this. So the way it works is that it starts from your manager. So he submits a promotion request for you because he thinks that you should get promoted. And so other managers do. Then you have the review. So the board meets and everyone reviews all the candidates and list them. So they start, okay, we have the first candidate, Christian. He did a great job this year. He developed a lot of stuff. Nobody knows you, but like, okay, sure, put them in the list. And then they move next, and they're like, and also we have Mark. He also developed a lot of stuff this year. And everyone, oh yes, Mark, of course, put in the list. And then they have the budget, they review the budget, they see how much money they have, and they draw a line on this list. Whoever is above the line gets promoted. Whoever is above doesn't get promoted. So you want to be as high as possible in this list. And the way, in order to be high there, you need to get visibility. People need to know you. So increasing visibility just means that you want as many people as possible to know your name. So what we said so far is to look better. That's great. That's also how people remember us. But another way to expand our visibility is about connecting with your manager and manager's manager. Talk to them once a month. I have meetings with my manager, for example, once every 2 weeks, and with my manager's manager once every 2 months. So I'm sure that I will catch up with them just in case they forget my name. You never know. One other way is about being the first one joining in a meeting. So if you are the first one joining, whoever joins after you, you can grade it. You can talk to him. So again, they will see your name. It's going to be the first name there, and you can chit chat. Another way is about speaking people around you. So even if you don't work with them, but they just sit around you, probably they see your face every time. So you can just pop there and say hi, and again, share your name, what you do. So this is another great way to get visibility. And another way is to become remarkable. So if you become famous at something, for example, making fun presentation, or about organizing team building events, or sending a fun quote of the month, something like this, people will always see your name. So the next step is about connecting better, because yes, we get visibility. We're doing a great job. We get visibility, but unfortunately, many times other people get better opportunities because they know people. So we need to know people. Okay, so networking is really an essential skill to become a great leader. And this is really valuable. It took me a long time to learn. Many people are a bit shy, talk to other people, so it's not very easy, but the good thing is that network is not just about meeting new people, it's about also staying in touch. So keeping the connection alive. This is really important because imagine this. You go to an event, like a corporate event, you meet new people, exchange LinkedIn, and then you won't see these people anymore. Imagine how would they react if you reach out to them a few years later asking for something. They would be like, okay, who are you? So that's why it's really important to maintain the connection alive. Again, if you're not good at networking, it's actually even better because authentic networking, it comes when you focus more about the person behind the role. Many times happens to me that during this networking event, people come 5 minutes, what do you do? Give me your LinkedIn, bye. You can see that it's very political, it's very forced, but the authentic networking is much more personal, is more valuable. You can see when someone tries to connect with you because he actually wants to know you. So a very good example about networking, this is an experience that comes from one of my ex-colleagues. It's really interesting. So I used to work with this guy who used to bring candies at work and share them with people in the office, like small candies or M&Ms, something like this. But not just with our team, with pretty much everyone around us. And this was a great way to give back, connect with people, and expand the network, because you just go there and say candy and you start chit-chatting. But also I used to do that pretty much every month or so. And this was also a great way to keep the connection alive, to stay in touch with them. And if you think about like a pack of candy was, I don't know, €2, and he met so many people. So it was very worth it, let's put it like this. So it's really important. Another thing is really important to remember things that you discussed with these people. It shows that you care. So it happened to me a couple of weeks back. I talked to one of my coworkers. He came to me saying, "Oh, next week I have the exam of the driving license." So I went there a couple of weeks later, actually this week, and I said, "Okay, how was the exam?" And he really appreciated it because he saw that I remembered. Also, share feedbacks about achievements, compliment people. Really, they get recognized way too rarely. So it's better to appreciate them. So in case you set up this recognition program, whenever, for example, you see someone gets recognized, you can just ping them and say, "Hey, I saw you developed this. It's great." So again, another great way to expand your network. Think about this. We have connections. We have strong connections and weak connections. Strong connections are people close to us, like our friends, our family, or coworkers. And we also have weak connections, and these are people that we may not be in contact with anymore, like ex-coworkers, friends of friends, people we met at old events. Now, which one would you think they are more valuable? Actually, the answer here, let me put like this. The strong connections, despite we may think they are more valuable, are actually less valuable. It's not just about the numbers. We definitely have more people, more like weak connections than strong ones. But it's because people in strong connection, they have the same background. They work in the same place. While people with weak connections, they are probably in different background, different companies. So it's a bit more valuable. Other than that, weak connection present more opportunities. They offer you more point of views. So let me give you another example on this to make it a bit more clear. Let's say you want to change job, very simply, or you are thinking about how to bring more value to the organization. Which one would you help you the most? The strong connection or the weak connection? Like if you want to change job, definitely you cannot ask to your coworker, or rarely you can ask to your family, but you will definitely know more people outside, like for either recruiter or people working in other companies, like weaker connection. So that's why they're a bit more valuable. So staying in contact, unfortunately, is only 50% of the job. We need to expand our network and meet new people. And I know this is something that many times people don't like to do, or they don't know how to do it. It feels forced. I've been there. So how do we do it? How do we expand our network? So there are 4 ways. There are more than 4 ways, but this just to summarize. One way is through achievements. So many times it happens to me. It happened pretty much in every company I've been. You receive this email about sent to the whole organization, highlighting what was achieved in the last month or what was released, or you have maybe this recognition program. So this is a great way to connect to people, to expand your network. You can just write to them and say, "Hi, Chris. I don't know. I saw your presentation, how to become a great manager, and I found it really impressive. Do you have some time for a catch up?" And this is a simple way to expand your network, showing that you had interest in what they did. And yeah, it's just a great way to expand your network. Another one is through networking events. So you can go there and check if you see any familiar face. You may find someone that you works on your floor, and they may find your face familiar as well. So that's perfect. You just go there and use that as an excuse to start a conversation. So you can just say, "Hi, I'm Chris. Nice to meet you. I think I saw you on this floor. Do you also work on this project?" So a very natural way to open a conversation, to break the ice. If you are trying to reach someone externally, it doesn't have to be in your company. For example, LinkedIn is a great way. When I go on LinkedIn, I see posts liked by my network, or like a, I don't know, advertised post or something like this. If you find one that is interesting, you can just comment it, try to be more active on the social, and connect to the author. So just go there and say, "Oh, this is a great advice. Thanks for sharing. Have you considered this other point of view? Thanks." And yeah, back and forth, and then you expand your network. Another way is through coffee break. I have a cafeteria. I think many companies have. When I go there to get a coffee, many times I see always the same people. Probably they get the coffee at the same time I do. So that's perfect because you can just use it as an excuse to start a conversation. Like, "Happy Friday. I noticed we worked on the same floor. I'm Christian. Nice to meet you. Can I ask you what you guys do?" It's always nice to ask what they do, because it's that they can, it's like an open open line. They can talk about everything, so it's perfect to start a conversation. So people really appreciate when they get recognized for what they do. So again, if you know it before the meeting, before you talk to them, you will get an extra boost. And after the meeting, it's important to stay in touch with these people. Again, the key point is not to lose the connection. So after that, you talk to these people, try even just 5 minutes, or like short meeting once a month or so, just to keep the connection alive. Or if it's on LinkedIn, simple message: how long, a long time no speak, how you doing? Just to remember them that you are there. So why networking is so important, why I'm emphasizing so much. It's really important for career progression, because if you meet new people at work, they can help you advance in your career. You will get more valuable projects, and it's perfect to get fresh ideas. You meet new people outside the work, for example, and they can help you, give you fresh ideas or finding new job opportunities. Imagine you are trying to bring value to your organization, and just talking to other people, new people, they can give you new ideas how you can do that. So that's why it's really important to expand our network. So remember that networking is always about giving more than receiving. So don't just go there and start asking. When you reach out to someone, remember to be personal. Don't just start sending copy and paste messages that you send to everyone. Personalize it a bit. But when you ask for something, just go straight to the point, and tell them what you need, what you're looking for. And if they cannot help you, remember, no loose hands. They need to suggest you who can do it. So if it's like a recruiter, or if it's like another coworker, if they can't, just ask them, "Okay, do you know someone who can help me with this?" And this is really important. So really, everyone can become a great manager, but it won't happen overnight. When you get promoted, your role change, your responsibility change. Once you're junior, then you're senior, then now you're trying to become even a higher position. So now you really need to change your mindset and make it ready for the next step. So how do you do it? You get better, you look better, and you connect better. So thanks, everyone. I hope it was useful. So do you have any question? So I leave you here all my contacts if you want to reach out to me. If you have any question, here QR code. I didn't mention before, actually. Yeah, I have also a YouTube channel where I share personal finance and work-life tips, sharing what I learned here. So if you want, it's here. Any question?
Yes, thanks a lot, Christian. Guys, if you do have any questions for Christian, you can type it in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself and take the mic. Don't be shy. Thank you. Okay. So apparently there are no questions, Christian. So that's great. So again, an invite for following Christian's on these social networks you see on YouTube and LinkedIn. Again, you practice your networking skills as Christian has just introduced. You can drop him a message or follow him on YouTube with a lot of valuable videos. We would like, of course, you to complete a survey before we close, where actually you can get the PDU code for your PMP certification. So you can scan the QR code that actually you see on the screen, or otherwise, just give me a moment. I will also share the link in the chat. And as announced before, so as announced at the beginning of the webinar, what we have been also announcing today, thanks to Anya, we are going to have a lottery about the book. So Anya, I see you joining. That's great. I'm not ready yet for the lottery. I mean, the mechanisms actually, what we're going to do is to take the list of the participants who actually replies to the form that actually are going to collect the PDU. And with that, which I see and I hear already some responses are getting collected. Out of this, we're going to use a lottery system that is going to basically pick one, not off the board, as Eddie at the beginning has suggested, that is going to win a book. Anya, do you want to comment and maybe share also a message from the board in case you want?
Yeah, I don't know if everyone can hear me. I'm a little bit in the spotlight at this moment. First of all, thank you, Christian and Luigi, for organizing this webinar regarding do better work and get better and do better and look better. That's very important. That was the main messages that I got from the webinar. Yeah, indeed. So I had the idea to this is a book. There is a book that explains everything, how you can do it and how you to explain it. Christian also explained it, but you can read deep dive into the book. So yeah, the idea was to have indeed a lottery. But yeah, I've got the names from the participants here in a basket. So I just need someone who can pick up the names. One name, yeah, and I've got here a very great victim. He's going to be, yeah, hi, this is my partner. So he will pick up one of the participants and from the big list. Yeah,
good one.
so we have them all into some buckets. Let's see, yeah, and now he's going to drop and pick one out. Good. That's the lucky one. And the lucky one is Claudia. So Claudia, you are the winner for the book. So I'm going to
thank you very much. I'm so happy.
I'm going to ask you to stay a little bit longer so that I can take note of your address and that I can send over the book to your site.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks, you all.
Thanks a
See you
lot.
next time.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Big
I'll
applause.
then stop the recording.